What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. In this video, we are going to be going over the post-game notes from week number 8. We had a really high-scoring week 8. National Tight Ends Day was in full force, so we got a lot to cover. We're going to hop in a screen share here. If you guys are new to the fantasyfellowship.com, this is an exclusive little article here for members on the fantasyfellowship.com. It's $8 a month if you guys want to get the full, get the full video and the notes and all that stuff. But what we'll do is we'll hang out for the next 10 to 12 minutes. I'll cover a few of the games, and then I'll go to the rest of the show for the members here. So post-game notes, week number 8. We're going to start with that Thursday night football game where the Vikings lose to the Rams 20-30. The Rams are back. My goodness. Puka Nacua, man, he looked like the featured wide receiver one for this team going forward. He looked better than Cooper Kupp in this game, and just the first few targets of the game went to him. He got carries. He was looking really, really good. So I think the Rams overall, man, they're going to continue doing their 3 wide receiver stuff. It looks like Demarcus Robinson is still the number 3 wide receiver. So I don't know if we need to hold on to Whittington or, Tyler Johnson or anything like that. And they're still running Colby Parkinson as the main tight end here. He ran 24 routes out of 33, only 2 targets. Don't really care about Colby Parkinson for fantasy now that Kupp and Nacua are back. But they eased Nacua in 22 of 33 routes, 7 for 106. Looked really good doing so. He didn't catch a touchdown. DeMarcus caught 2 and Cooper Kupp caught 1, and even Kieran Williams caught 1. So the Rams, very consistent, and honestly, both teams are very consistent with what they do and how they deploy the routes and spread the snaps out. Kieran Williams, 64 snaps out of 71. Blake Corum, 7 snaps. So it's clear that he is the RB2 now. I think I still want to hold him in deeper leagues as a handcuff RB2 stash because he's getting carries, 4 for 9, 1 for 9 as a receiver. Nice to see him just involved there a little bit. And if anything happens to Kieran Williams, we'll be talking about Blake Corum on the waiver wire. So he is the guy to stash on your bench. And then Matthew Stafford, man, 4 touchdown passes, almost 280 yards. Looking like a potential QB1, a fringe QB1, a solid QB2 for Superflex League. So the Rams, it's all back, man. I'm excited about the Rams here. And the Vikings, on the other hand here, still no tight end. TJ Hawkinson. We'll care about TJ Hawkinson week 9 when he's playing. Aaron Jones dominated this one, 21 routes out of 29, 46 snaps here out of about 50. Ty Chandler's just a handcuff right now. He didn't even get any touches in this game. The chips were down, so maybe they just relied on Aaron Jones a little bit more. Aaron Jones is a high volume RB1 right now, not scoring a touchdown, but he got a lot of touches and a lot of yards here. So I still like Aaron Jones. Ty Chandler purely a handcuff. Justin Jefferson game, 8 for 115 on 9 targets. He was the only thing that was really moving the ball on the offense. Jordan Addison only 2 for 22. Jalen Naylor, the clear number 3 receiver, 2 for 16. So nothing really to note here from the Vikings-Rams. Sam Darnold struggled a little bit in this one. He got off to a hot start, but the Vikings offense kind of went stagnant and settled for field goals. So I think the main story is the Rams offense is back. Eagles 37, Bengals 17. What a game here from Jalen Hurts. 3 rushing touchdowns on the day and 1 long touchdown pass to Devonta Smith. From a usage standpoint here, we don't really need to worry too much about the Eagles. They're still using Devonta and A.J. Brown. Jahan Dotson's the clear number 3 receiver, but he's kind of useless for fantasy. Grant Calcaterra was tight end 1 in place of Dallas Goedert. 3 for 58 is fine if you started him. Not the best tight end day, though, on National Tight End Day. And then Saquon Barkley dominated again, 22 carries, 108 yards, only 1 for 3 as a receiver. So a floor game here, no touchdowns. They all went to Jalen Hurts, who looked good throwing the ball, 16 of 20, 236 yards, a touchdown, and then those 3 rushing touchdowns. So huge day for Hurts, big day for Devonta. A.J. Brown still looked pretty good, 5 for 84. Not too much to learn from the Eagles here. Cincinnati side of things, we saw Zach Moss play more, just 2 snaps more than Chase Brown, 30 snaps, 28 snaps for Chase Brown. Zach Moss ran a few more routes. Chase Brown still leads the team in carries. So in games where the Eagles or the Bengals are trailing, you're going to see Zach Moss out there a little bit more because they like him in third down pass protection and just kind of comeback catch-up mode. So that's why he had more snaps. Didn't really translate to fantasy success, but he did catch 4 for 28. So in PPR leagues, he's still alive as like a low-end RB2 play. But Chase Brown gets the rushing touchdown in this one, 12 for 32. Adds a couple catches, Joe Burrow without T. Higgins, 234 yards and a touchdown, just a kind of a floor game of 13 points. It was a big Jamar Chase reception day, 9 for 54 and a touchdown, but the Eagles did a good job limiting him. And the Eagles defense in general didn't really allow much to happen downfield. Mike Gesicki, 7 for 73. No T. Higgins in this one was a big deal. It kind of limited the offense. And you can see Yoshivas, Jermaine Burton, Trent Irwin, not a lot of production from those other receivers here. So the Bengals, we need T. Higgins back in this offense to keep it humming. But otherwise, I don't think there's anything too crazy that we have to take away from this game. Although Mike Gesicki leading in snaps, just without T. Higgins, Mike Gesicki might be that guy that could be used when Higgins is out. Ravens 24, Browns 29. Jameis Winston comes in and goes for 334 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did lose a fumble, but man, if you're getting 300 yards and 3 touchdowns from your quarterback, that's a QB1 right now. So Jameis Winston might be on our QB1 streaming options. I think for Superflex leagues, you're starting him every week if this is his ceiling. Now, the Ravens were missing a lot of guys on defense here, so I don't want to get too crazy here, but Jerry Jeudy, Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, all 3 of these receivers were startable in fantasy. Jerry Jeudy, 5 for 79 on 8 targets. Cedric Tillman, 7 for 99 on 2 touchdowns. And then Elijah Moore, 8 for 85 with a team high 12 targets. A clear wide receiver 3 set. No other receivers earned a route here. So I think Jeudy, Tillman, and Elijah Moore should all be owned. And then David Njoku down here, man, just a solid game, 5 for 61 and a touchdown. If you're getting 17 from your tight end, you're feeling pretty good here. So Jameis lifting 4 receiving targets for fantasy goodness here. Something that maybe he's not going to hit every week. Maybe he only, has 2 or 3 guys that we want in our lineup. But I think for right now, we should be excited about the Browns offense. Nick Chubb, I forgot. It looks like I misplaced these here. Nick Chubb should have had 16 carries for 52 yards and the 1 catch. So I'll check back in on that. I believe Pierre Strong went 0 targets and 0 touches. So I'll get that updated here. But Nick Chubb remains the guy running the ball. Deonta Foreman got some carries as RB2, but we'll see what this looks like with Jerome Ford back probably next week, if not week 10. On the Ravens side here, they couldn't get Derrick Henry going, even though he was running the ball well, 11 for 73. It looks like I missed a touchdown in his column as well. So I'll have to go back and update this Ravens-Browns game here. But Zay Flowers was the leading man on the day, 7 for 115 on a team high 12 targets. Nelson Aguilar caught the touchdown, which doesn't really help much. Bit of a bummer here from Rashad Bateman, 1 for 28 on 5 targets after his big game last week, and he had been playing better. So this is kind of what the floor is with Rashad Bateman. He has times to disappear. Sometimes like Zay Flowers can disappear in this offense. But Mark Andrews is back, leading the team in tight end snaps and routes, 5 for 36 and a touchdown. I think we're starting him as a top 10 tight end going forward. And then, not much really else to note here. It's Lamar, it's Henry, it's Andrews right now, and Zay Flowers has had some really nice big games this last month here. So continue to start Flowers. Consider Mark Andrews. You're still starting Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. So tough game for the Ravens to lose on the road here, but the Browns showing some fight. Titans 14, the Lions 52. Don't really want to talk much about the Titans. Mason Rudolph had a good number for fantasy with 19 points. He did rush for a touchdown, threw for 266, and threw for a touchdown, but this was a pretty bad day. Tony Pollard got up to 20 carries for 94 yards. Pretty solid PPR day. He remains a nice low-end RB1, high-end RB2. And then Calvin Ridley. No DeAndre Hopkins. Calvin Ridley steps up for a team-high 15 targets, 10 for 143. No touchdown on the day, but he did get a carry and also lost a fumble. So I guess the main takeaway is Calvin Ridley, I think we can probably put him back in our lineups if this is going to be his usage going forward. I don't really want to rely on Westbrook-Ikine or Tyler Boyd or the tight ends. I think if you're starting Titans going forward, it's Tony Pollard, it's Calvin Ridley, maybe Mason Rudolph in a super flex contest. The Lions side, they just didn't have to throw the ball very much. The running backs did their work. Gibbs and Montgomery, each got a touchdown. Sam Laporta, I guess, 6 for 6, 48 yards and a touchdown. It looks like he's back, but with Jameson Williams out maybe one more game, I think you can get one more game out of Sam Laporta that we're going to want. So we'll watch for that to evolve here. But the Lions, man, just put up 52 points. One was a punt return from Khalif Raymond, who also caught a touchdown. But St. Brown caught a touchdown. Laporta, Raymond, and Brock Wright on National Tight End Day. Jared Goff only 85 yards and 3 touchdowns. Even David Montgomery threw a touchdown. So not too much to learn from the Lions without Jameson Williams here. They roll and they move on. And I'm going to cover the Texans and Colts game, but I think I'm going to probably stop after that one. Anthony Richardson, a really poor game, 10 for 32, 175 yards and a touchdown. He did run for 45 yards, which was nice, but 2 turnovers again. And now we're questioning if he's even a starting quarterback this week. You know, we saw a headline today from Shane Steichen, and they asked him, is Anthony Richardson starting? And they're saying we're evaluating everything. So we're not sure. Anthony Richardson is not in our fantasy lineups right now, only in Superflex leagues if you have him. But otherwise, it was nice to see Jonathan Taylor back, 20 for 105 and a touchdown. He ran a lot of routes and looked good doing so. Josh Downs was the clear target guy here, 9 targets to lead the team, 4 for 109 and a touchdown. He also had a 13-yard carry on. I think it was the fumble recovery. So Josh Downs, maybe if you have to start one receiver, it's probably Josh Downs right now. I'm not trusting Pittman or Pierce. Not really excited about this passing game. We're going to get a good look at these guys on Sunday Night Football against the Vikings, so we'll see what happens there. But right now, I only want Jonathan Taylor in my lineups and maybe Josh Downs. The Texans, we might have lost Stephon Diggs for the season with an ACL. So we got to keep monitoring that throughout the week here. Diggs did go 5 for 81, so you're fine with fantasy numbers. But it's the Joe Mixon show, man. 25 for 102 and a touchdown, 23 PPR points. Texans were able to pull this one out. But the offense is just not humming offensively here. They're running the ball great, but the passing game really spread out thin right now. One guy to note here with Dalton would be Dalton Schultz, with Stephon Diggs missing time here. Dalton Schultz 4 for 52 in this one. If you need tight end points for week 9, he could be the guy. We do expect Nico Collins back in week 10. But man, if they're going up against the Jets on Thursday Night Football, Diggs is not playing. Tank Dell becomes a must-start wide receiver. 4 for 35 and a touchdown is a good number, but we're still looking for those big plays that we saw last year from Tank Dell. So starting receivers for week 9 should be Dell, Hutchinson, and maybe Robert Woods. Don't really want to start anybody besides Tank Dell, but I think going into Thursday Night Football, you're starting Mixon and Dell. Consider Schultz, and I don't think I'm starting CJ Stroud in a 1 QB league. I think he's only Superflex leagues. So I'll cover one more game here for you guys. The Packers and the Jaguars here. Jordan Love gets hurt. He was playing fine before the groin injury. We're going to see if he's okay for week number 9, but he did go for 192 yards, threw an interception. If you started Jordan Love, man, he was my number 1 ranked quarterback for this week, so I was a bit bummed there, specifically on DraftKings. But Malik Willis came in, threw a touchdown, ran some yards, did fine. This one was really about Josh Jacobs, just looking really, really well. 25 carries, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Packers were able to establish the run and stay with the run all game, and took advantage of a couple Trevor Lawrence turnovers. Romeo Doubs on the day was the number 1 with snaps and routes, 3 for 72. Christian Watson, 4 for 39. Jaden Reed had a quiet game until that last drive, 2 for 55. And then Dontavian Wicks, 2 for 11. I think if you're starting Packers receivers, Romeo Doubs is the one that is starting to emerge as kind of like a must-start wide receiver 3 flex. He's continuing to lead the team in routes and snaps, and he's getting the ball a lot. So I like Doubs, and I think Jaden Reed is still the one that I want in my lineups. Of course, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Jordan Love this week at practice. If Malik Willis is the quarterback, we'll kind of change that tune. But Tucker Kraft, again, only 3 targets, but he's catching 3 of them for 78 yards and a touchdown. So he is a very efficient tight end, not getting a lot of volume, but he's a starting tight end right now in fantasy football. Jacksonville, we lose Christian Kirk with a broken collarbone. Brian Thomas leaves early with a chest injury. They're saying he's day-to-day. He has a chance to play week 9, but we did lose Kirk for the season. And Trevor Lawrence, despite losing Kirk, Thomas, and even Gabe Davis got hurt in this one, Trevor Lawrence still throws for 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he even runs in a touchdown. So Trevor Lawrence is playing good football right now. If you need to add a quarterback, I think I like him as a potential streaming QB1. Otherwise, he looks nice as a QB2 for Superflex leagues. No Travis Etienne in this one. We see Tank Bigsby lead the team with 18 carries for 78 yards. He didn't he ran a good amount of routes. He caught 2 for 8, but Dearness Johnson still matched him with 16 routes, 1 for 20 as a receiver, 1 for 3 as a rusher. I think when ETN comes back, we'll see Tank Bigsby's numbers kind of come down a little bit as they get ETN on the field more. So hopefully we see ETN in week 9. Evan Ingram led the team in routes on the day, 4 for 36 and the touchdown at the end of the game to tie it up. Brenton Strange, though, looked good. Once they had all these injuries and they kind of had to, they're playing Parker Washington, Tim Jones, like they only went to, they relied on a lot of 2 tight end sets. So Brenton Strange caught a lot of stuff there in the fourth quarter, 5 for 59. He looks like a good dynasty stash too, by the way. I like Brenton Strange. He had played well when Ingram was out with the hamstring, and he's looking like a guy that might have some value down the road here. So overall, man, Brian Thomas Jr. gets hurt. He did go 3 for 60 and a touchdown. I think he's got a chance to play week 9. With Christian Kirk now done for the year, you're going to see Parker Washington be the clear number 3 wide receiver here. We'll see if Gabe Davis can get healthy. But a lot of questions heading into week 9. Do we see Gabe Davis? Do we see Brian Thomas Jr.? If anything, this means Evan Ingram's going to be a must-start tight end 1. So if you have him or you can add him, I would do so. And we'll see. A lot of questions on Jacksonville here. They're playing Philadelphia this week. Tough game. We'll see what happens from the practice week. But that's going to do it for the video today. I'm going to take the night off, guys. I'm sorry. I'm struggling with a migraine headache right now. So I'm trying to get through the video. But I think I'm going to take the night off and enjoy Monday Night Football, maybe get some rest. But if you are interested in seeing the rest of the post-game notes, go to thefantasyfellowship.com, head over there, and it's only $8 a month. There's a $5 2-week trial if you guys want to check it out. So thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the Monday Night Football game. We'll see you guys tomorrow night on the Waiver Wire Show. Peace. Got me feeling icy.